The chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with light, sound, and quiet confidence. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in their elevated seats, watching the giant hologram floating above the floor. The image showed a massive armada, thousands of ships from the strongest empires in the galaxy. This fleet was meant to send a clear message. Power ruled here. Then another signal appeared. A second fleet entered the display, far smaller, far quieter, and far less impressive at first glance. The ships were few, their shapes simple, their size almost embarrassing compared to the giants nearby. A wave of soft laughter moved through the chamber. Some council members leaned forward, their eyes sharp with amusement. Others whispered to each other, clearly enjoying the moment. A voice echoed across the hall, calm but mocking. So this is the human armada. More laughter followed, louder this time. The humans had arrived with what looked like a patrol force, not an army. Their ships did not glow with heavy shields. They did not carry massive cannons on the surface. They did not show any sign of fear either. The human fleet stayed in perfect formation. Every ship moved with smooth and careful precision. No sudden turns, no aggressive moves, just quiet motion through the dark. The council expected a message, a plea, a warning, maybe even a surrender, but none came. The silence began to feel strange. The laughter slowly faded. A few observers adjusted their senses, trying to read the human ships more clearly. The data made little sense. The ships were small, yes, but their energy signatures were steady, controlled, and unusually clean. No wasted power, no leaks. It was as if each ship knew exactly how much strength to show, and how much to hide. A senior commander from one of the oldest races scoffed openly. "Humans are brave, I will give them that. Or foolish," another replied. "They bring toys to a war." The narrator would later say, this was the moment history held its breath, because while the council judged size and numbers, they failed to notice behavior. The human ships did not drift like others. They moved like a single mind. Every change in speed happened at the same time. Every shift in position felt planned long before arrival. Deep inside the lead human vessel, the crew waited. No shouting, no panic, no celebration, only focus. They had heard the laughter through open channels. They understood the insult, but they did not respond. Humans had learned something early in their journey to the stars. Noise wastes energy, anger, clouds, judgment, and showing strength too soon invites fear instead of respect. Outside the chamber, the small armada continued its slow approach. Close enough now for visual scans. The ships looked almost plain. Dark hulls, smooth lines, no banners. One council member finally asked the question others avoided. Why would they come like this? No one answered. The sensors flickered again, just for a moment. A brief spike appeared and vanished, so fast it could be ignored. Most of the council did ignore it. They were still smiling, still certain of the outcome. What they did not know was simple. This was not a display of weakness. It was restraint. The human fleet was not small. It was compact. It was not simple. It was efficient. And as the Armada reached its final position, perfectly aligned, perfectly silent, one truth became unavoidable. The laughter had stopped, but it was already too late. Long before the humans arrived at this part of the galaxy, they had been underestimated everywhere. Other races had seen them as weak, reckless, and inexperienced. Planets dismissed their small fleets. Empires ignored their voices. Even allies sometimes laughed at their attempts to explore the stars. Humans did not respond with anger. They did not demand respect. They only worked quietly. Every failure taught them a lesson. Every loss strengthened their resolve. On Earth, and on colonies beyond, humans had built their technology step by step. They were fast learners, combining what they saw in other races with their own ideas. Their ships were small but smart, designed to move quickly and survive harsh conditions. Their weapons were not the largest, but they were precise, controlled, and deadly when used correctly. Despite having fewer numbers, humans had a way to multiply their strength. Their crews were trained to think like commanders, not just soldiers. Every officer understood strategy. Every pilot understood tactics. Even a single human ship could act like an entire fleet when needed. The aliens had never noticed this before. They judged humans by size, by firepower, by appearances. They never looked closer. They never imagined humans could plan years in advance. Humans had learned patience, and patience was the greatest weapon of all. As the council continued to watch, they could not understand the human mind. The humans moved slowly in formation, almost as if waiting. They did not fire, they did not signal, they did not respond, and this stillness made the council uneasy without realizing why. Behind the calm, humans had been building alliances quietly, not to dominate, not to expand greedily, but to survive, to create a network that allowed them to gather knowledge, test technology, and prepare for challenges far larger than themselves. The narrator would later say that humans were always underestimated because they did not seek praise. They had no need to show power when it was not necessary. And in the galaxy, where pride often ruled, this quiet confidence was almost invisible. Some council members remembered rumors, stories of humans surviving impossible battles, stories of small human colonies defending against powerful raiders, stories of humans using clever traps, technology, and strategy to turn weakness into strength. But they dismissed these as exaggerations, fairy tales told by ambitious traders and historians. Now, as humans approached the council chamber, the past had caught up. The small armada looked ordinary to the eye, but it carried decades of learning, adaptation, and silent planning. Every ship, every weapon, every crew member had been trained for this moment. The aliens still saw only size, still judged by appearances, but the humans had never been interested in appearances. They measured power by results, and soon, the council would see results, in ways they could not imagine. Deep inside the command ship, the human captain stood, hands behind their back, eyes calm, no fear, no anger, only observation. They watched the alien fleets, noted their formations, their weaknesses, their assumptions, and waited for the perfect moment, because humans knew something the aliens did not. Strength is not always obvious, and the smaller the armada, the faster it can strike, the quieter the fleet, the deadlier it becomes. The council laughed once more, thinking themselves safe, unaware that the humans were already planning the first move, and that move would change the galaxy forever. The council members relaxed as they watched the human ships drift closer. They still believed the humans were too small, too weak, too inexperienced. The chamber buzzed with quiet confidence, whispers of amusement filling the room. "This will be easy," one alien muttered. "They will surrender without a fight." Another replied. Then, without warning, the humans moved. It was almost invisible at first, a subtle shift in formation, a small adjustment in position, but every ship moved in perfect harmony, as if connected by a single mind. Sensors flickered, readings jumped, and the council felt a strange unease. The first warning came when an alien scout ship attempted to scan the humans. Its instruments suddenly failed, readings going haywire. The humans had created something no one had expected, a system to hide their true power, not with force, but with precision. The council members stared at the displays, disbelief spreading across their faces. "How can they do this?" One shouted. "They are too coordinated," another said, voice trembling. The humans had not fired a single shot, they had not made a sound, and yet, chaos was already creeping through the alien fleet. Then the first strike came, silent, precise, unstoppable. A capital ship of one of the largest alien empires blinked out of existence. No alarms, no explosions visible to the naked eye. Just gone, as if it had never existed. The chamber erupted in panic, confusion, and fear. The laughter was gone, replaced by silence filled with terror. The humans continued to advance, every movement calculated. Their fleet seemed small, but it acted as a single entity, a swarm of intelligence, striking in perfect timing. Every alien sensor failed to understand the attack. Every plan the council had made fell apart. Inside the lead human ship, the captain observed calmly, hands folded behind the back, eyes scanning every display. "Target neutralized," they said softly. "No celebration," a crew member replied, because humans had learned long ago that control beats emotion, strategy beats pride, patience beats impulsiveness. The alien commanders tried to retaliate. Missiles launched, energy beams fired, fleet formations shifted, but the humans anticipated every move. They adapted instantly, countered without hesitation. Every alien strike seemed slow, clumsy, and predictable, and the council realized too late that size and firepower did not matter. The humans had hidden the truth behind simplicity. Every ship was a weapon, every crew a strategist, every formation a trap. What appeared small was actually overwhelming. What seemed ordinary was extraordinary. What the council had laughed at was already winning. The council members tried to speak, to order, to fight back, but no one could stop the inevitable. the human armada moved with purpose. Invisible threads of strategy connecting every ship, every strike, every move, every decision executed perfectly. By the time the first wave of aliens understood what was happening, it was already too late. The humans were no longer a small fleet. They were an unstoppable force, and in that moment, the galaxy learned a lesson that would never be forgotten. Do not underestimate humans, for they may be small, but they are patient, intelligent, and relentless, and when the time comes, they strike with the force of 100 empires. The alien fleet scrambled to respond. Shouts and alarms filled their command rooms. Missiles were fired. Energy beams lit the void, but the human ships moved as if nothing had happened. Every attack predicted, every move countered. The Council watched in horror as their largest vessels faltered. Inside the lead human ship, the captain observed calmly. "Prepare phase 2, they said, voice quiet, steady. The crew immediately adjusted. Weapons systems came alive. Shields shifted. Formations rotated. Every ship became part of a single living machine. Suddenly, the small human armada expanded its reach. Ships darted forward, backward, sideways. Precision strikes hit every critical point in the alien fleet. Capital ships, warships, supply vessels' targets fell without warning. Not with explosions, but with calculated disruption. Engines failed. Navigation systems jammed. Weapons neutralized. The aliens could not understand what was happening. This is impossible, one commander whispered. They move as one, another muttered. They are everywhere at once, a third said, voice trembling. The humans were calm, not celebrating, not gloating, just observing, executing their plan flawlessly. Each alien fleet tried to regroup. They tried new formations, defensive maneuvers, but humans anticipated every change, every feint, every tactic. Their ships adapted instantly, like a single organism, responding to every threat. A sudden wave of concentrated fire moved through the alien lines, not chaotic, not loud, but precise, surgical, unstoppable. One by one, the aliens' strongest ships went dark. The Council panicked, unable to give orders fast enough. No technology, no weapon, no strategy could stop the humans. The narrator would later say that in this battle, humans revealed their true power. It was not rage, not numbers, not size. It was control, focus, intelligence, and unity. Humans had learned to fight not just with weapons, but with thought, with patience, with coordination beyond imagination. Even as destruction swept across the alien fleets, humans remained calm. Ships moved as planned. No mistakes, no wasted energy, no miscommunication. Every strike brought them closer to victory. Every move reinforced their dominance. The Council members looked at each other, disbelief and fear in their eyes. They had never faced a species like this. They had never imagined that size could be meaningless. They had never understood the strength in quiet intelligence. The human captain finally gave the command for the final phase. A wave of coordinated energy strikes. Precise, deadly, unavoidable. Alien fleets were shattered. Their greatest weapons rendered useless. Their pride and arrogance destroyed in minutes. Silence fell over the council chamber. The laughter, the confidence, the scorn, it all vanished. All that remained was a clear, undeniable truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were not just survivors, they were masters of strategy, precision, and power. And in that moment, the galaxy realized a lesson long overdue. Strength is not measured by size, by numbers, or by arrogance. True strength is hidden, patient, intelligent, and unstoppable. And the humans had shown it perfectly. The battle was over. The alien fleets were shattered, scattered, and broken. The council members stared at the void, unable to comprehend what had happened. Their largest ships gone, their pride destroyed, and all because they had laughed at humans. The small human armada hovered silently. No cheering, no celebration, only calm. The humans had fought, executed their plan perfectly, and now they were leaving, not to conquer, not to rule, but to remind the galaxy that they existed, and they would not be ignored. The aliens whispered to each other in disbelief. They were small, one said, voice shaking. They were weak, another added, and yet, they did this, a third finished, unable to find words. It was a lesson the galaxy would never forget. The humans returned to their colonies quietly, their ships still small in appearance, their movements still precise and controlled. No one spoke of glory or victory, only of duty, survival, and respect. Humans did not seek power, they only sought equality, and now, every species in the Council had learned they deserved it. The Galactic Council would meet again, but the conversation had changed. Aliens who had once laughed at humans now spoke in cautious respect. Strategies were rewritten, alliances reconsidered. The galaxy had shifted in a single day, all because humans had shown what it meant to combine intelligence, patience, and courage. Stories spread across systems, merchants, explorers, and historians carried the tale, how a small armada moved like a single mind, how humans had destroyed the impossible, how the galaxy learned to never judge by appearances. Deep inside their command ships, the humans did not speak of fame, they did not boast, they only prepared quietly for what might come next, because they knew the galaxy would always test them, and humans would always be ready. The final message left for the Council was simple, not a threat, not a boast, but a reminder. You laughed because you saw size, you lost because you ignored intent, and with that, the humans disappeared into the stars, silent, calm, and unstoppable. The galaxy remembered that day. It remembered the lesson humans taught, that strength is not only in weapons, numbers, or pride. True strength is patience, intelligence, and unity. And from that day forward, humans were no longer underestimated. They were respected, feared, and admired, not because they sought to dominate, but because they deserved recognition. And the legend of the small human armada lived forever, a story told and retold, in every system, to every species, a reminder of what it means to be human. The galaxy would never forget, and humans, quietly, moved on, always learning, always watching, always ready. For one truth remained unchanged: underestimate humans at your own risk.